Welcome back to Roosky's Garage. So if you tune into this channel, you obviously have either an OBS or MBS or a square body C10, C20, or C30 Chevrolet, or if you're like me, I have a Sierra Classic C15 truck, and we all love those. While I'm waiting on parts to come in, I've been dealing with body issues, and I have come to understand that up until at least 1979, and if I'm wrong about this, let me know in the comments, but they used to have chrome that wrapped completely around on the side panels, and then it looks like in 1980 they still offered some of that, but then they ended up swapping. They took the paint line a little higher than that upper crest and started filling in that upper area with a pinstripe and then chrome along the bottom. That's what I've got. And right now, since I'm waiting on parts, I decided I wanted to clean that old, dilapidated, dry, crusty pinstripe off the sidewall down both sides of the truck. So I purchased this $10 wheel off Amazon, and this thing has actually worked really, really good. It's not expensive. You'll notice that right here on the front there's a circle going around, that's as far down as you can take it as far as rubbing your body down to get the pinstripes off. That leaves you a lot of room for working, and so far it's done a great job. And I worked on the cab of the truck today. I didn't get it on video because I've just had so many moving parts going on, dude. It's been a tough week for me. But the cool thing is the bed of my truck is sitting right out here, and I'm going to take you out and show you in a minute just how this thing works and how easy it is to get rid of the pinstripes on your truck. And I was concerned that this wheel would probably end up burning through that single stage paint on these old Chevys and GMC trucks. It's worked beautifully so far. So when you're strolling along here, you'll notice, and Chevrolet didn't really go to some great depth to get their lines perfect. I'm seeing imperfections all along here when they were spraying their base coats. I mean, that doesn't even line up correctly, but they knew that the pinstripe would cover it, so they didn't worry a lot about it. I've got this all looking really smooth. It's smooth to the touch. I'm going to have to do a little cutting and buffing to get everything the way I want it before I put the new pinstripe back on. And if you look on this other side, it's the same thing roughly. It's a pretty straight line. It won't be hard to deal with, but this has already been done. And I used that wheel that I'm about to show you. But look at this. That's the original paint. They really didn't try very hard, did they? To get everything crisp. And then, of course, there was trim along the bottom of this that I'll replace with new stuff after the fact. Now let's go out here and see what we got with the old bed so you can get a view of what the old crusty pinstripe looked like before I started. Now here we are on the bed, and this, you can feel this with your fingers. You can definitely feel an edge on top and bottom. This used to be, I think this originally had 3 brown lines and 2 orange lines to separate these 2 colors, and it actually looked pretty cool. But this is so dilapidated and everything's so far gone that the only thing that's left is the inch-wide brown underlay of this whole pinstripe along this bed. And of course it's the same way on the other side. They wrapped in about inch and a half or so here. And it actually looks like they got some overspray on this. It's pretty ridiculous. Look at this. There's orange showing over the tan, like they really didn't go to a lot of trouble. That line down there, not even close to straight. Good job, GMC, Chevrolet. But anyway, I'm going to set the camera up now and show you how this wheel works at getting that old pinstripe off there. Now keep in mind, right here, that's where this trim right here continued on, and I'm going to use that rubber wheel to get all that old glue off that as well and replace that old trim in the future. I think the pinstripe should have came a little further, but over time, evidently it's been worn away. We're just going to start polishing away at this. We're not going to worry a whole lot. And you're going to notice right away a lot of debris that you're seeing was from the decals themselves. And I stop every few feet or every few inches and look at that. This is rust, but everything else that was here was just built up from this pinstripe itself. And I just started packing this a little bit at a time. This is just my choice for the way I use this. So you come up with a better method, that's up to you. I start eking away at this. When I first started, I was a little worried that I was going to damage the paint, and I was trying to stay right in the realms of the pinstripe itself, and then I realized that it really doesn't matter. It's not going to damage the paint. I mean, that comes off smooth as silk. I'm going to move the camera a little bit. Continue on. And really, if you look at it realistically, it doesn't take long. You can move right along with this. I mean, to me, that's pretty flippin' amazing. Now, you're going to see little lines across the top of this that doesn't match the paint. You're going to have to end up buffing this probably at the end of the day. But man, does this save some time. There's no damage to the paint at all. You can just work your way right along. I'm going to go ahead and get this whole side done. Then I'll cut you back in and show you what it looks like at the end. Alright guys, another amazing product that I happened to stumble upon. Look at this. In under 13 minutes, I was able to get all of the pinstripe off, all the way around to the front. This thing works great. Keep in mind to work from your left to your right and use the top edge of the rubber roller and work your way this direction from left to right. You can't go wrong. Didn't damage the paint in any way, shape, or form. And I took the chance knowing that I could end up having to repaint this whole bed and everything else. I did this for you guys because I want you to know there's products out there to keep you from having to go through too much headache. This is going to work out fabulously. I'll put a new pinstripe on along this line right here. I'll put new chrome along the bottom, polish all this stuff up, and it's going to look amazing. Okay guys, I kind of had to make a switch here in order to do an outro for the pinstripe video here. I had to move indoors because it's rainy and very windy outside. Neither of those things are conducive for doing a decent outro and getting good audio quality or without risking damaging any of my video equipment. So I wanted to take this opportunity because it didn't really take me that long to show you about that pinstripe removal method. So I wanted to just change gears for a minute and ask a favor from you, the viewers. And I have written down a list of things that I want you to tell me about. This really does interest me. I'd like to know because I know there are some people that watch my videos that are in other states, and I'm just curious of what it was like where you were living, if it was similar to right here in, for all intents and purposes, rural Oklahoma. I want to know what you were driving back in the day, what you wanted to drive, like what was your unicorn vehicle, what kind of music you were listening to, what kind of TV shows you were into at the time, where you did your cruising at, like what town and how did that work, fashion, and possibly what cars you owned that you wish you could have back again. And I'm going to run you through my list real quick and you'll see what I'm talking about. When I was in high school, I actually ran home and turned the TV on and got to watch MTV Air for the first time ever. That was really cool. I'm glad that I was able to experience that. It changed music forever, and it was just a cool thing to get to see. Nobody had ever seen music videos before, and it just, of course, skyrocketed. But musically at the time, I was into, all the Southern rock and regular rock and roll, but mostly country. And there was a group called David and David, and one of my favorite songs ever, if you're talking about rock music, it's David and David's Boomtown. And if you've never heard that song, go look it up on YouTube, watch the video, listen to the song. It's an amazing piece of music. It's got this real eerie guitar in it that just, I can hear that song come on and I'll stop whatever I'm doing and listen to it and sing along with it. You probably wouldn't want to see that, but yes, I do that. Brian Adams came out. Of course, the Eagles, Journey, all those groups like that. I was into that, and of course, believe it or not, I like the Go Go's, but only because I thought Belinda Carlisle was a hottie. She was the lead singer for the Go Go's, but I was mostly into country music. I remember when George Strait came on the radio for the first time. I was into Steve Wariner. He was a singer songwriter. Don Williams was a really strong influence on me musically. And Alabama, of course. I loved Alabama. And of course, some of the older guys, the Merle Haggard and Johnny Cash and all that. But I primarily listened to country. The TV shows that were on at the time that I would even give any credence to, they're stupid to watch now, but back in the day, I was really into Miami Vice. My wife and I, after we got married, we had this little bitty apartment, and we every Friday night or whatever when that came on, we were like eating with TV trays right in front of the television because we didn't want to miss an episode of Miami Vice. Fall Guy, that uh, galvanized me with my love for Square Body Chevrolets. They destroyed so many of those trucks. Dukes of Hazard, the old Star Trek, Shatner version. The other ones I could care less about. Fashion at the time, when I was in high school, Ocean Pacific t-shirts, long sleeve and short sleeve, and Eskimo Joe's was getting popular at the time, and they were from Oklahoma, so we all wanted to throw them a bone and take care of the local guys. I wore a lot of Eskimo Joe's t-shirts. Of course, I always cut the sleeves out of most of them. 501s were the go-to jeans, but I still wore Wranglers a lot too, and cowboy boots. I did my fair share of hauling hay. Sometimes we'd come in from hauling hay and we'd go catch one of the Bramer bulls that was only a year or so old, take turns trying to ride them things. And I had a lot of country friends. I grew up mostly in rural towns. And so even though I traveled around a lot, we usually landed in a smaller town and I just gravitated towards country people. My first car ever that I could afford was a 75 Trans Am, and it was a beater, Joe Dirt car all the way. Had a 400 in it with a shaker hood, dark blue with a baby blue bird on it, or Phoenix, whatever you want to call it. And that's the car I was driving when I met my wife. It was automatic. And believe it or not, my wife can ride dirt bikes, three wheelers. She grew up on three wheelers. And one night when we had first started dating, she had never done a donut in a car before. So I took her out to an old abandoned Walmart parking lot in Cushing, Oklahoma about 11:30 at night, put her in the driver behind the driver's wheel and taught her how to do a donut. And just to hear her scream and laugh and the fun we had, it just engraved those memories in me. I loved that time growing up. That was a stupid thing to do, by the way. Then my 72 Cheyenne truck that I migrated to after that, it was a beater as well. But it was mine and it ran okay and looked okay. I'd give my left arm to have that back now. But anyway, I don't want to drone on forever. I'm curious to find out how your upbringing worked because back in the day, you couldn't just tune in and watch everything going on in California or Texas, or you couldn't even keep up with fashion unless you looked in the magazines. And half the time, California would be into a new style before Oklahoma ever even heard of it. We were like always behind the eight ball. So just throw me a comment and give me a rundown of all the things that you grew up with, and let me know if working on old cars and trucks like this ever sparks your memory, opens up that memory vault, and takes you on a little ride down memory lane. Okay. If you like the content that I put out, I really would appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. It'll help my channel out so much. I'm working my butt off, try to build it. Um, Not to try to be somebody. I just love what I do, and I love teaching people, passing on what I know to the next generation. It's just a passion. I really dig it. For the next 2 weeks, after this Friday, I'm going to be deer hunting in the woods out back and try to land me another one of those white-tailed deer racks to stick on the wall right there. But I think I've got enough content that I'll still be able to be putting out a video or two while I'm off. That's it for now. For Rooskie's Garage, this is Shaw, and I'm signing off. But remember, like I always tell you, life's too short, guys, to take everything too seriously. Slow down, enjoy the ride, don't sweat the small stuff. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon.